In today's video, I paint the model with a yellow, green and red paint. Hello fellow modelers, recently I received a request to create a Panther model, although I have already made one before, but it had some minor weathering. I pick out brand new kit from Vespid models. It's got everything you need to get started, including metal gun barrel, small detail metal parts and 3D printed muzzle brake. The plastic parts have sharp, pronounced details. This is definitely the best Panther kit in the scale. The tank tracks are from plastic segments. Honestly, I prefer this option more than rubber ones. You can notice fine details like weld lines or casted rough texture. I only had a bad luck. The bottom part seems to me a little bit damaged. There is a missing front gear cover. But it is not a big deal. I cleaned the residual plastic and made the new cover from a styrene sheet. If you are thinking about using this kit, be warned that it is not for beginners. You will need to remove small plastic pins from the engine covers and replace them with metal hooks. Just be careful not to damage any of the details around the pins. It can be a bit tricky, but with some patience and attention to detail, you should be able to get the job done. I had a problem with the fitting, so I cleaned a little bit of plastic on the edge. The issue was too pronounced mold line. I'm gluing metal parts with ordinary super glue. All are included in the kit, so you don't need to use any extra parts. It's payoff. The rest of the fitting is without problems. Maybe you can feel the ejector pin marks on the front fenders, but it will be barely visible. I often find myself overlooking small details in the manual, especially if they are smaller than 1 mm. It can be frustrating, but I know that taking the time to carefully read through every page can save some troubles. I was looking for part 23, and then I realized that there are small pins on the sprue. Hopefully there is more of them, so feel free to lose some. Handy tool for bending metal parts is Metal Bender. You can make your own for a few dollars from Metal Ruler. I have video tutorial on it. Okay, that is some serious stuff here. There are 1 mm clips for fenders. The tank tracks are excellent, but I miss small relief holes, so I designed 72 scale tank tracks and print them. This improvement is handy primarily for spare tank tracks on the body, where the relief holes are pronounced. All the printable files are available for my Patreons. The German tank tracks and wheels are very complex, so it is easier to assemble all and then paint them. I made the same segments, so you can follow the instruction manual for the correct assembly. Yes, it looks more detailed now. The black primer is suitable for AFV models, because it will cover grey plastic in hardly accessible places. If you miss some spots, then the black works like a deep shading. I decided on German ambush camouflage from Division Piper. It has typical yellow, green and red shades. I have precise paints, so it is easier when mixing them. It is possible to create masks and spray marking according to them, but I don't have a precise scheme, therefore I found easier to spray all directly on the model. Important is to have an airbrush with 0.2 or 0.15mm nozzle. Also, airbrush must be perfectly clean and needle polished. I prefer low pressure of 15 psi and highly diluted paint. Also, it is important to mix paint with a paint retarder, which prolongs drying time. The ambush camouflage has small dots. I tried to paint the dots with a paintbrush once, but the result was not satisfactory. They look too sharp on the surface, thus I decided to spray the dots with an airbrush. This technique is much easier on the larger scale models. The clear varnish is suitable base for decals. I purchased decal set with the numbers for Piper division. They are very smooth, so application is effortless. And the decals chemicals nicely unify them with the rest of the surface. I applied one smooth layer of a matte varnish over it. Now it's time for paintbrush. I use acrylic paints like Vallejo, Citadel or Revel Aqua. Painting the details is now more challenging, but on the other hand, I do not need to struggle with gluing thumb tracks on the painted parts. The dark brown enamel wash nicely makes the details more pronounced. The next step is scratches. I use thin paintbrush with natural fibers. I am painting random sketches around hatches and engine covers. I like oil paints because they are very versatile and you can make many effects with them. If you want leaks or stains, then try to dilute oil paint with a white spirit or enamel thinner. The final effect is nicely smooth. The same true is for accumulated dust. I only changed the shade for light and added more thinner. And if you want matte splatters, then mix oil paint in denser dilution. However, if you want some sharp color contrast details, then I recommend ordinary acrylic paints. The kit does not include secondary MG34, which is shame because it is a nice detail. I use spare parts from old Dragon kit. Last but not least, I added more mud and dust. And with these steps, I'm done. I am looking forward to future Vespid kits, because they are lovely and precise. It is primarily pleasant relaxation after some more complex projects. Okay, thank you for watching and see you next time.